Step 2, get some good, some food in you. Step 3, think real hard about what you wanna be. Step 4, everybody just do your thing.
Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 Yo, set your affirmations, aspirations. I got shit to do, the aftermath of preparation. Good food, good mood, blood in circulation. One step at a time, yeah, that's how you make it. Set a goal you control and the steps you take them. I try to pick one thought, have some concentration. And if I make a mistake, it's called education. I try to do this every day, call it replication. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 So life ain't easy, yo, I think there's a reason though. Ups and downs, just like every different season, yo. Sometimes I'm high, other times I'm barely breathing, though. You always gotta fight and hide from the demons, yo. Negative thoughts are poison, they rot. Head full of flaws, so here come the clouds. They'll never stop unless I can swap all the bad for the good in my head when I'm lost. Yeah, so I'ma fake it till I make it. Positive thoughts are overtaken, I got patience. One day at a time is how you operate a cadence. A flow, you grow, you show yourself a foundation. Stay away from all the shit that causes temptation. I know that I like to do it cause it's sensation. I live my life in my head like a narration. Don't expect greatness, do my best, man, I'll take it. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 Wake up, today's gonna be a good day.
Wake up, really gon' rise to the sun. Step 2, get some good, some food in you. Step 3, think real hard about what you wanna be. Step 4, everybody just do your thing.
Hi, Bullhorn Betty. Thank you for my shirt. Welcome to the Bullhorn Betty Kids Club.
Hey guys, Bullhorn Betty here. This is Layla Santinello. Many of you know now that I am in Kingsport, Tennessee, trying to find answers. This is the last place that Layla Santinello was seen. She was seen here on June 26. Witnesses actually saw her at this hotel. She was distraught. She was only in a white tank top, black leggings, and no shoes. As you can see, this hotel is surrounded by woods. We're going to be going out there and searching for her. Law enforcement is coordinating their searches around Eastman Commons, which indicates to me that law enforcement hasn't received any information that she left the nearest vicinity to this place. We know she was here. We know she slept in the woods somewhere here.
Hey guys, so I'm out here in Kingsport, Tennessee. We are searching for Layla Santinello, beautiful 21-year-old mother. She has a daughter. And the reason why I'm standing at this field is because earlier today we met with this gentleman who was down further this way. And we did find out from this gentleman that her boyfriend was searching for her the next day, the day that she vanished. He saw her in this field looking for something. He saw her around between 7 or 8 a.m. in the morning. Is that it?
Wait, what did you find?
It's a needle,
A needle.
hypodermic needle.
So we found this area that appears to only have one person, but that looks like female clothes there. And this looks like male clothes here. But this looks pretty clean. This doesn't look like something that's been out here too awfully long.
We took that information and we started backtracking it. We knew that she was here.
We did hours and hours of searches yesterday, all through the woods out here. And from the creamery, from Five Below, we tracked it back to this building here. We talked to somebody at this building that did see her, and he said about 7:30, 8 o'clock in the morning, he saw her kind of spreading apart all this tall grass behind me as she made her way over to that location. He had asked her, are you looking for something? Do you need something? And she did this, like she needed a cigarette. He said that she came from over here. This is a wooded area right here behind AmeriCorps. And we also learned from the same witness that her boyfriend was looking for her. He called her his wife, but he was looking for her. So, I'm not sure how I feel about that right at the moment. This is not looking good. I'm hoping that, this is not going to turn out bad. But I have to say, nobody has heard from her in almost 2 months. No social media activity, none of her friends, none of her family. She literally vanished into thin air. 2 separate tours, many, many hours, and many days of searching for Layla Santinello. We searched high and low. We searched all over Kingsport, Tennessee, and we did not locate her anywhere. And anyone and everyone we spoke to has not seen her since the day she disappeared. We searched abandoned houses and any place we thought she would be. Her family has been struggling so much to find answers, and they have been met with lies after lies after lies from a lot of people that proclaim to be this young lady's friends. And for the family members of these people that know what happened to her, it could have been your daughter. It could have been your granddaughter. You need to ask them to stand up and speak up.
Because at the end of the day, all I really want is my daughter home.
Hey guys, Bullhorn Betty here. So there's something going on in my community and I need your help with. So this is a double homicide that happened in my community, but there's a lot more to this case than meets the eye. This is Thomas Matajek. He actually killed his mother and her boyfriend recently, but the problem here is he shouldn't even have been out of jail. He should have been in a mental hospital, and he is deemed incompetent to stand trial. This right here is our state attorney, and his name is Ed Brodsky. He has been our state attorney in the 12th district for some time. I recently learned our law enforcement officer, Sheriff Rick Wells, has arrested this guy many times and has prepared a case and sent that over to the state prosecutor. Ed Brodsky was supposed to litigate the matter. However, he ended up taking the felony case, reducing it to a misdemeanor, sending it to a misdemeanor court, and then just a month ago sent this deranged mental patient to a halfway house where he escaped and killed his mother. How can you help Bullhorn Betty? You can help Bullhorn Betty by saying, we will not accept this. This is unacceptable. Our law enforcement does their job and they send it over to the prosecutors just to let them go. Now, 2 people in my own backyard have lost their life because of these horrible and poor decisions at the hand of the state prosecutor, not law enforcement. So please, I ask you, is this going to be acceptable in your community as well? This is how you can help. If this case bothers you, if it disgusts you, if you realize 2 people should not be laying in the morgue right now, please consider giving Ed Brodsky a call and letting him know this is unacceptable from any state prosecutor. Learning today that 2 have been arrested in connection with the triple homicide out in San Antonio, Texas. This is the case of Savanah Soto, Matthew Guerra, and their unborn child, baby Fabian. They were gunned down and dumped at an apartment complex and were located on December 26th.
It was a heinous act. It was unspeakable, the tragedy of it. When we talk about the manner of death has not been determined, the manner meaning, was it a suicide or was it a murder?
You said that ME said that for Matthew Guerra it was a gunshot wound to the head, but when we called them, they said it's a contact gunshot wound. What does that mean?
It means that it was there.
However, with new evidence and new information coming forward, we have learned that they died on the 21st in early morning hours leading into the 22nd. It was right before midnight when the car was dumped in that video that you just saw. What we've learned since then is that this is potentially a drug deal that has gone wrong. This is a robbery homicide because everything happened from execution to dumping the car in less than 10 minutes, according to the affidavit. Let me know what your thoughts are. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe here on TikTok to Bullhorn Betty. And don't forget, I have another channel. It is on YouTube. Please consider going over to Bullhorn Betty Crime Stories to get the latest and greatest on the up-to-date true crime news.
As you wake up in the morning, you want to find the latest, greatest information about criminal cases and have an intuitive conversation about the suspects associated with these cases. Head over to the Bullhorn Betty channel on YouTube. Breaking news right here on the Bullhorn Betty channel. Welcome to the Bullhorn Betty Coffee Club. Enjoy your stay and enjoy your day.
Well, good morning, my beautiful people of YouTube and X. It's nice that you guys are all here with me. I know you guys are interested in finding out some new information about the Savanah Soto case, but as many of you know, we never just start out with the meat and potatoes of the show, because then you guys will all leave me, and then I'll be all alone. So, we just can't have it. Just can't have it this morning. Good morning, Manic Monday, to all the beautiful people out there that rose and shine with me this morning. If you noticed, we didn't start at 6:30. We started a little before 7:30. I wanted to break you guys in a little bit. I know it was a shock to the system, a full hour of being able to sleep in this wonderful morning. Of course, I didn't. Many of you guys didn't, because when I came live, we had over 173 messages already in chat. So good morning. I'm not going through all of you guys. I'm just going to say a big blanket good morning to all. Welcome to the Coffee Club. I am Bullhorn Betty. We've got a few things to go over this morning. The first one is a content creator / rapper that is now one of our subjects and our avocation. If you are in problems, if you're having problems in your life, if you need help, if you're on the streets and you need help, please, 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 please don't leave with a stranger. You never know what their intention for you is. So please be careful. Here's our first segment, our first episode.
Accuser holding a pregnant woman against her will for years. And tonight, police have a new problem. They can't find the alleged victim of this man, Lee Carter. After our news team called with questions, officers rushed over and busted open the house in Southeast Houston. ABC 13's Pooja Lodia is live with the very latest. Pooja.
Eric, Houston police say they've been trying to get in contact with this victim for 2 days now. They worry she could be in danger after being locked up in this home here behind me for years. We have also learned that the suspect is a well-known Houston rapper with a large social media following.
A large social media following. And now this is some issues that we have. This was an altercation that happened. There's been several disturbances at this house. This lady has been in very poor shape. She went off to the hospitals. They never did anything. Law enforcement did not protect her. They did not file the reports or whatever, which forced the person not to be able to have contact with you. And so he would go and pick her up from the hospital. Now, mind you, when he met her, she was pregnant. Nobody knows what happened to the baby. Nobody. But the last time that they saw this lady, she was 70 pounds. She was in poor shape. And this is, again, a social media guy. So, you know, I'm just, it's sickening to me.
Police move in, smashing through a window and opening a door. They're looking for a woman they believe had been locked up here for years.
We were very concerned that there could have been somebody in there that needed immediate assistance.
Inside, they found a dog, an empty mattress, and a deadbolt that closed from the outside. The TV was still on.
The cops come banging on my door at one point, maybe almost a year ago now, claiming that someone had called from inside the house and was kidnapped or was not able to leave on her own. And right then, as the cops are standing at my door, a gal comes crawling out that window.
Listen to that.
With the boards over it, just clawing her way out. Pregnant, 8 months.
The man who owns the house, 52-year-old Lee Carter, was arrested at a nearby motel yesterday. The accusations against him are so concerning. A judge cleared the room today before reading aloud court documents and setting his bond at $100,000. Carter is accused of picking up a pregnant woman while she was panhandling in South Houston, then bringing her here. The woman told police Carter locked her up, raped her, and forced her to take drugs, including pills and crack cocaine, for 4 to 5 years. Court documents don't show if she ever gave birth, and if she did, what happened to the baby.
This story goes on for a little bit longer. I'm going to kind of kill it right there. You guys get the gist of it. If you see somebody, I know I've got a lot of advocates that try to do the right thing here on this channel. And so one of those parts of avocation is learning about the resources in and around your community. I can't do that for you. That's something that each and every one of you are going to have to do. Keep some literature or something in your car. Something, you don't need to keep a whole box of it. You know, just keep some things in your glove compartment. So when you see a situation like this, where there's a pregnant female or somebody that looks like they may need help, you have something to hand them that might be able to help them. Will it help them? We don't know. You know, all we can do is try, right? And pray to God that we can save the one person that's savable. We're going to go through hundreds and thousands of people to find that one, but that one matters. And so it's up to each and every one of you. I would be finding out what kind of resources you have for drugs, you know, for shelters, for abused women. If you guys are in the avocation aspect of this, you need to find out that information, because you never know when you're going to need to use it, when you're going to need to have that information on, you know, just on the fly. So I know there's a lot of people that advocate here. I know we inspire a lot. So just as best practices, it might be a good idea to start looking into the county resources. Now, I'm not going to take too much time to go over this headline. This is a weird phenomenon that happened in my community. And it was it's a little more involved. And I wanted to bring it here to you. So apparently there was some people that were going hiking in Pinellas, and they got off the hiking trail and appeared to have went to some place that I want to say must be top secret. I mean, it has to be top secret. We must have a place that's ultra, ultra top secret in Pinellas County. And the reason why I say this is because these ladies got off the trail. Next thing you know, you got cops coming out of the woods. You got helicopters, their phones. They called them on their phones. They're hiking out there. Make a wrong turn. Oh, Canvas and Crimes. Thank you. God bless you. For those that received your gift, your Bullhorn Betty gift membership, please don't forget to thank Canvas and Crimes for your gifted membership. God bless you for that. So they get off this trail
Next thing you know, their phones are ringing and they're like, "Who the hell's calling me?" Right? Who's calling me? They pick up the phone. This is the Pinellas Sheriff's Office. You guys are in a restricted area. You need to turn around immediately. The ladies are not, they're kind of a little lost back there, obviously. They're older ladies. They're not like spring chickens here. So they send a helicopter. They're taking too long to get out of the woods. They send a freaking helicopter in there. They end up fining these ladies like $100 and something. I want to say $142 citation. But the sheer magnitude of the production that happened for two older ladies just seemingly accidentally walking off the trail that requires their phones being rung, almost a SWAT team being out there, and freaking helicopters flying. Don't tell me that there's not something top secret that we should be knowing about that's going on in Pinellas County, because I don't know anybody that's bringing in air support for two older ladies lost on a hiking trail. They weren't I say lost, but I mean took the wrong turn. But they're not lost. They know where they are. They know how to get out. But to send a helicopter in because these ladies are taking too long to get out, that just doesn't sound normal to me. And if it sounds normal to you or something, let me know. But it was a little crazy for me. It was a little crazy for me. Now, I know we had a conversation about this. This dovetails right into Savanah Soto's case, because if you guys remember, we had the whole, sumo wrestling porn hour here on the Bullhorn Betty channel as we were trying to look at body sizes. PJ, good morning, love. Good morning. It's nice to see you. As we were looking for body sizes, right? And we're trying to decide how fat this guy is that's getting out of the truck. And so I told you guys about MAGA, the MAGA Hawk. He was 250 pounds. And I said, this is what a 250-pound guy looks like. And I told I knew him. And I was scrolling. I was going through some stuff, looking for stuff. And lo and behold, MAGA Hawk pops up, right? MAGA Hawk. There he is. There he is. So I thought it was funny because, the big racist that I am, it doesn't look like I was racist that day. I'm just saying, maybe it's not that I'm racist. Maybe it's just, I just don't prescribe to a certain political arm. And maybe that's what makes me the more racist than not, because I love all people. I love all people. And I'm sorry, if you look at that face, that was one happy girl, wasn't it? That's one happy girl right there. My BFF. Steven, keep rocking it out with your coffee beans out, man. Our MAGA Hawk, 250 pounds. That was kind of my idea, like when we were trying to do body weights, he was really the only, like the biggest guy I know. And I know how much he weighs because he told me. So I knew it. Anyways, getting on, I have a few other things about O'Keefe and Brian Kohberger, and I'm just going to go ahead and gloss over those. I do have some stuff on Alec Murdaugh. For those that are here, we're going to be making a trip. I don't know if you heard about Alec Murdaugh. He's going to be going for his new trial. If you guys would like to help sponsor the trip, it's going to be about $300. So far, we've collected about $12 for the trip. And there it is right there. PayPal, Cash App, or Venmo. We're trying to raise about $300 to go out to the Murdaugh new trial, motion for new trial. It's like a 3-day thing, but I'll probably be there for a day or two. If you'd like to contribute, please do. We are on a $1 Will Do campaign. That basically means we just crowdfund. So if everybody can give $1 or $2, we'll have enough money for the trip without any problems. Now let's get on with Savanah Soto. I'm going to give you guys the Reader's Digest version. Well, it's the motion for new trial. They haven't decided on it. That's what they're going to be deciding. And why we've been running the Alec Murdaugh stuff, especially Buster, because I want to see what Buster had to say. And as a matter of fact, this morning, let me take my back screen off. That's usually what's jamming my stuff up. I got so many, literally so many. There we go. I literally have so many screens open that it bogs my system down when I do this, but that's okay because we need them open. So the Reader's Digest version is we started getting on the horn about this case with Savanah Soto. I believe it was right around Christmas time. We were learning about it. We were running a show, and she was just one of the lead stories going into the main story. Now they're the main topic, right? It's kind of weird how that happens. But when we learned about this, we didn't know too much about Matthew Guerra. We only knew about Savanah Soto. She was a pregnant teen. We were told she was 19 years old. We've learned she's only 18 years old. But at the time, we heard a 19-year-old pregnant teen was missing, and she was heavily, heavily pregnant and was going to the hospital to be induced. And she never made it to the appointment. And so the family, we heard that her family went to report her missing in San Antonio, but because they were residents of Leon Valley, they had to go over to Leon Valley to make the report, which they did. In the meantime, in the interim, what we didn't know at the time is that her boyfriend was arrested a year previously. And he was arrested a year previously for assaulting her. So many people, including the family, I believe, we didn't know it at the time, but I think now that we're kind of full circle, we kind of understand what happened behind the scenes, so to speak. And it appeared that that situation kind of reared its ugly head when Savanah was missing, because Savanah was missing and so was her boyfriend. But I think people, because of the past abuse, I think people naturally thought he was on the run as opposed to being with her or being in jeopardy himself. But his family knew something wasn't right because his father, his brother, everybody was trying to get a hold of Matthew, and they couldn't get a hold of him either. So the father went over there and kicked in the door. Apparently, the father took some items out of the house that he saw in the house, and then he reported his son missing as well. So now we have, two people missing, one heavily pregnant. We saw the candlelight vigil on Christmas Day for Savanah and the plea from her family to the public, asking them for any information to come forward. And then the next day, we get the worst news that we can imagine. We find out that the car was located, and both Savanah and Matthew were deceased inside with a contact gunshot wound, both of them, to the head, some region of the head. I don't know. We heard that one of them had a shot behind the ear, the right ear, or the left ear. I can't remember if they even indicated, but behind the ear. And then when, as you saw that intro video coming into the show, the police chief puts his hand up here. But I think that was just to show that the butt of the gun is making contact or very close to the skin when it was fired, when the trigger was pulled. We were surprised. We tore this whole situation up. We absolutely looked at a lot of stuff. Remember this? We're looking at body sizes. We're looking at how wide this guy is from stomach to butt. And he was a big guy. He was just a very short guy. His son towered over him. So we definitely know this man was short, maybe 5'4". I think somebody in the chat actually indicated he was 5'4". So we're looking at body style and body sizes, and this is where we started getting into our sumo wrestler. And I have to be honest with you, as far as the body size and style, I think we did pretty good. Now this guy's much taller and bigger than what Ramon ended up being, but like I said, I think we were going to look at somebody that was similar to this as opposed to this. And sure enough, the gentleman that was arrested, the father, he looked more in line with this picture. So we were, following this case. We were looking at it. Oh, thank you. Who did that? Let me see who did that. Oh, thank you, Jeannie. Thank you so much. That's so nice. Rhonda team, thank you. Thank you, guys. I appreciate that. And, just small little amounts. They do add up. They add up to a trip, right? They all add up to a trip. So now that we know who was arrested, we know it was Christopher, which was 19 years old. He told law enforcement in the arrest affidavit that he was trying to purchase marijuana, and that marijuana deal went south. In accordance with the arrest affidavit, which I believe none of us believe the horse crap coming out of Christopher's mouth. It doesn't make sense because he's basically saying that Matthew pulled his weapon. Okay, Matthew pulled his weapon out and tried to, aim at him, and somehow he wrestled that gun and managed to stick it to the back of, remember, contact wounds. This is not fired from a distance like when you're wrestling with a gun and it just discharges. This is muzzle to skin contact or very close to it, right? Or very close to it. It could be this far away, but it's so close to the head that it looks like it's almost touching the skin. So it was either touching the skin or almost touching the skin. That's how close that muzzle was when it fired into Savanah. But somehow or another, this is his story. Matthew pulls his weapon. He wrestles with Matthew. It discharges. Matthew is able to acquire that gun or take back control of that gun. And he goes after the gun again and manages to grab it and again do another contact type wound to Matthew. But my problem is if Matthew pulled the gun, you just shot his girlfriend. He got control of the gun again. There is no way that man is not going to fire his shot. Because now it's a lethal situation. As soon as you get that gun, you're pulling that trigger as many times as you possibly can because your body is doing it naturally because of the fight or flight mechanism in it. So I don't understand that whole situation. Then we kind of fast forward to their arrests and their press conferences. Okay. We had the original press conference when they made the arrest. And it was like they were almost hesitant. We're going to go over it. Almost hesitant. Let me take these. Hold on. Let me just get through here. I'm going to take some stuff off of here. Give me just a second because I want to make sure that this is all. If I can get all of this down and pulled out, and I might be able to. There we go. It just cleans up the buffering a little bit when I remove some of the tabs. So we had their arrest and the one officer, which was kind of new to us. I didn't recognize him outside of the jail that was giving that press conference. He kind of hesitated a little. I'm going to find that and we're going to play that here in just a second. But he hesitated a little bit when he was talking about them being the only two that were going to be arrested. Well, many of us have watched that video at length. And even though we saw a girl driving the car, which in all fairness, Chris is one of the prettiest little boys I've ever seen. So I'm sure he's going to do well in prison. And if that offends anybody, I'm trying to offend him and I hope it doesn't offend anybody, but I'm one of those people that when you kill people, I say whatever comes out of my mouth to offend that person, to insult that person. It's not intended to insult anybody else, only that person and that person only. So I have to clarify that because we don't want people misrepresenting what comes out of my mouth. But he is the prettiest little boy I've ever seen. And he has beautiful hair. I tell you what, Bullhorn Betty is absolutely jealous of Christopher's hair. Right? Pretty hair. But it's definitely the girl I saw in that video. It's definitely the girl I saw in that video. And then when we see his father, it all makes sense. His father's being charged with some significant charges. And I have to think that law enforcement doesn't make mistakes. And I have to think that they have a little more involvement from the father than what's being alleged. Now, I got to tell you, the most insulting thing I think I heard throughout the entire thing is when that father, knowing darn good and well he was in that video and he wiped that car down and his son was able to execute a pregnant teen hours away from giving birth to her baby boy that she carried inside of her womb for over 9 months. You knew your son was capable of that, and you helped him. And you didn't just help him, you started wiping down fingerprints and everything else. I don't know, I don't know a parent that could sleep. I know me. If I was in a situation like that, I don't know if I could sleep with a murderer in my house. Somebody that is capable of doing something like that is capable of just about anything. Parents, do not help your children. It's time for you to get help yourself. It really is. Without further ado, let's just go ahead and look at some videos. This is an updated video. Is it coming up? I have a little bit of lag this morning, so just bear with me. There we go.
Today, staying tight-lipped on whether there is a third suspect in the killings of Savanah Soto, Matthew Guerra, and their unborn son.
In a press conference, SAPD Chief William McManus did confirm investigators are looking into this portion of surveillance video, which appears to show a towel tossed into the hands of Ramon Preciado, presumably by a person inside his truck. 36 hours after the arrests of father-son suspects Ramon and Christopher Preciado, San Antonio Police Chief William McManus and Bexar County District Attorney Joe Gonzalez provided an update to this now weeks-long saga.
I have to be honest with you. I like the state attorney. He makes me feel all warm and fuzzy. Whenever you hear him talk, whenever you hear him speak, you get this feeling that he cares, that he gives a crap. And I have to say, when somebody like a state prosecutor has to live and deal with the inhumane of humanity and has to prosecute those and send people to jail and send people to life in prison and even do DP cases, you kind of get desensitized. You get you get so good at removing emotion from the job that you almost seem callous and cold when dealing with the public. Kind of like, this police chief. You can tell he's been around the block a time or two. He's been at this lectern many times, talking about the same thing, just different faces and different names. And you see his lack of emotion when it comes to these cases. It's because it's his job. He's dealt with so many of these that he's now a very well-oiled machine, if you will, right? A machine. He no longer thinks of emotion and feelings. He thinks of how to get to the bad guy and how to get the bad guy behind bars. He's a machine now. What I like about the state prosecutor is he still seems like he has a lot of heart. And I like that. I like that. He gave me the warm, fuzzy feeling. He gave me it's everything's going to be okay. We're going to get through this, and baby Fabian matters. And those were all the hot buttons for me to be BFF with Bullhorn Betty, right? He said all the things I needed him to say. He told me what I wanted to hear. Let's pray to God. It's just not word salad.
The gun, believed to be the murder weapon, has been recently recovered from the suspect's home.
Yes.
Now, I also want to say this before we get into the further part of that. I know I'm probably annoying you for stopping this so many times, but the gun that was found, many people believe because he alleged, I just want to put this out there, a little food for thought. Just because he alleges that he wrestled the gun from Matthew doesn't necessarily mean he did. We don't know whose gun that is. Is that his gun? Or did he really get the gun from Matthew? How did all of that work out inside the car? Did Matthew have it on his side and he was just able to reach over there and pull it out? But we're making a huge leap and a huge assumption that it is Matthew's gun. It very well may not be Matthew's gun. And here's why I say that. Because according to the arrest affidavit, we cannot, even though the arrest affidavit is as vague as I've ever seen an arrest affidavit. Good Lord, there was nothing. I mean, there was very limited stuff clarified with that arrest affidavit. Definitely not a well-written affidavit. The best well-written affidavit I have seen so far is in the Brian Koberger case. I have to be honest with you. I love that affidavit. I absolutely loved that affidavit. I love that affidavit so much so that now I compare almost every single probable cause affidavit to the Brian Koberger affidavit. The Brian Koberger affidavit was so well written. And this is so poorly written, you can barely make heads or tails. But at least we were able to clarify, because one of my biggest things was I thought they were abducted from their apartment because there was a scream. But it's not uncommon to hear screams coming from that apartment that we're learning. But we did hear screams, so I thought that they were abducted. So the arrest affidavit did clarify that they were not abducted, that they willingly went over to this person's house. We believe it was at their house, but his father owns an air conditioning company. It could have been at the business, right? We don't know. We're assuming a lot with this. So I want to make sure that we caution people that the facts of the case are not saying that they were at his house. We're assuming it was at his house because of the way the affidavit, the poorly written affidavit, was worded. It implies almost that they went to Charlie Chan and that this happened there. It very well could have, but it also may not have, because we have not confirmed or corroborated that it physically happened at their house. Nobody said that. So we're assuming. We're also assuming that the gun that they found was Matthew's gun. There is nothing other than the statements of Christopher. There is no allegations that that gun is Matthew's. We've heard and we have rumors that Matthew never leaves home without it. It is possible. But I'm just saying that by us assuming and saying that it is Matt's, we're making a factual situation without the facts supporting it. We don't know. And the reason why I'm telling everybody, please caution yourself about this gun, is because according to the affidavit, we cannot ignore it. It appears that within 4 minutes, and less than 4 minutes, because remember, they had to drag a dead body. And that's not an easy task to do. So you have minutes of dragging a dead body. So you're talking literally within 2 minutes, both of these people were dead. They pulled up and the car started moving within 4 minutes. We know that Matthew was dragged. We know that they were both shot. This does not sound like even if you had a problem with the deal itself takes longer than 4 minutes to even have a problem with it. You're talking about these people pulling up and boom, boom, open the door, that's if he didn't get out of the car. That's if this did truly happen inside that car. Again, we're assuming that he got out of the car. We're assuming that it happened in the car. We're making a lot of assumptions with this conjecture we have. We don't have enough evidence to state what happened. We can only assume what may have happened. But one thing that was definitely noticeable to every single one of us is, according to the probable cause affidavit or the arrest affidavit, we know that they pulled up. Within 4 minutes, that car was leaving to go be dumped. And within 10 minutes, not only were 2 people dead, but 2 people were dead. A car was wiped down and a car was dumped. I don't know about you, but it seems like it would have taken 10 minutes for an argument to escalate to one where guns would be pulled out. This looks like this was, whether he did this with his father or not, he himself, Christopher, this guy right here, Christopher, I truly believe he planned this execution. I believe when he called and they were coming over to his house, there was not a doubt in his mind that they would be in body bags before they left. I truly believe that, because in my mind, I cannot see how a drug deal can go so bad in 30 seconds unless somebody was there in an effort to do damage. And it would have had to been him, because when you're a dealer, you never want to be known on the streets as shorting your clients, especially when you're selling everything much cheaper than your competitors. So there is that. But I don't believe in my good sense and everything, my experience, everything I've lived through, which I've lived through a lot. By the age of 19, I had more experience at the age of 19. I have about the same experience right now because I slowed my life down. Thank God, right? Thank God. But by 19 years old, I lived the life of a 40-year-old person. I had been through a lot. And out of everything that I have been through, I have never seen a drug deal escalate in a matter of 30 seconds. That's just my experience. I'm not saying it doesn't happen, and it's never happened. I'm just saying if it does, it's few and far between. And I just don't believe this 19-year-old story, especially since Matthew's the one that brandished the gun, but never fired one shot, even after he got control of the gun again after Savanah was shot. So according to this guy here, he got the gun, shot Savanah. Matthew grabbed the gun away from him. Now, I'm sorry, I don't know about you, but if I see somebody murdered in front of my eyes and I'm able to get control of the gun, I'm pulling that trigger until there's nothing left to come out of it. I don't know about you, and I'm a seasoned shooter too. I go to the gun range, everything. And I can tell you in that moment, I wouldn't stop pulling that trigger until there's nothing coming out of it. And it's just the fear factor. I can see myself doing that in a moment of fear and knowing my life is on the line and I just got control of this gun back that I just watched kill my beloved fiance. You bet your ass, I'm not stopping that, pulling that trigger until that gun is completely, utterly empty. So now we're going to come back to number 3, right? We all seen in that video somebody threw a towel. Let me go to TikTok. I don't know why I didn't have, or not Twitter. Let me go to Twitter. And San Antonio Police, I don't know why I didn't have this up. I have it up on another. San Antonio. There we go. Give me just a second. Now they put a few things up on here. Oh, we're in October. I must have passed it. Unless they took it off their website. They may have taken that. Oh, no, here it is. Here it is. Let's share this. So we all seen, and we were watching this at the time, and I remember stopping it and saying, wait a minute, somebody threw something. We see it. He gets out. He opens the door and touches it, and he must realize, oh, crap, I touched the door. And then he turns around, and you see right here, as he turns around, hold on, there he goes, and we see, look, right there, we see a towel thrown. We see a towel thrown at him. And so many people have questioned law enforcement and say, hey, you guys are saying that there's no other person here. You're charging the father with an accessory for simply what, I mean, they're telling us they're charging the father basically for simply wiping down the door. I mean, that is what they're saying, assisting the son. And they even go as far as to say in this arrest affidavit, let me find it. Here we go. In this arrest affidavit, that they're charging him with these crimes because he knowingly left those dead bodies in that car and abandoned them with his son. They didn't even allege that he helped drag the body around or put it in the back seat. They didn't allege anything. The abuse of the corpse was not because he did anything or even touched the body. According to the arrest affidavit, they're charging the father because he wiped the car down. And many people in 2 separate press conferences, one after the arrest when law enforcement, and he stumbled and stuttered all over the place, saying that, let me see, arrest. Press conference. See if I can find the one where they were in jail. Video. Here it is. It's a very specific one. And I want you guys to hear it. It's when we get down to the actual.
There's a lot of misinformation out there. These two individuals are the only suspects that we were looking for.
Right there. I actually hit it right on dead on. I didn't mean to do it like that, but I did. So I want you to watch how he stutters. So he stutters, and then we're going to go over to the press conference that they just had with the state attorney. I want you to hear him. He's stuttering, and then they start stuttering. Are they going to arrest the third person or not? We know the third person was there, and who was it? And have they made the arrest? I've got some answers for you. Don't go anywhere.
And Ramon with abuse of the corpse. Again, there will be more charges pending. This is what we have right now. I'll answer any questions.
Due to the capital murder for the son and then abuse of the corpse charge to the dad, does that mean that you guys believe the son killed them? And
I don't know if you guys can hear that.
Helped hide the bodies?
Yes.
And so they even confirm it. It's for helping hide the body. Good morning, Rapper. Hope you're having a great day. When was the third arrest? There may be an arrest. There may not be an arrest. We're going to go over it.
So I want to touch base on something real quick. Since the release of the video that we put out on the 28th, internet has blown up with people sending tips and people just sending misinformation. There's a lot of misinformation out there.
Okay, I'm gonna talk about this misinformation. Let's go ahead and have this out right now. Can't hear? Okay, I'll turn that up. I don't know why we're having audio issues on that. But I will turn it up. Let me see if I can turn it up. Hold on a second. Oh, I can probably turn it up here. Is this better?
These two individuals are.
I can only do so much if the volume is not well on the recorded copy. But this misinformation, okay, they act like because we're here. Now, this is my assumption. There is a lot of channels, like I said, on TikTok that they don't even care. They don't even try to get the information right, and they do absolutely nothing to do research. They literally are clickbait titles to get people to view them, and that's how they make their money. So I get that some people, but people know that on these streets, and you need to take the stuff you're hearing with a grain of salt. And when you hear somebody being deemed a conspiracy theorist, you need to take that into consideration as well, because a lot of the information coming from their channels may just be clickbait, have no relevance whatsoever. I just saw something on another creator talking about a dead prosecutor. When you look into it, it had nothing and absolutely nothing to do with the title. It is just, it is frustrating, and I get it. But when we comment, this idea that we're not allowed to have an opinion, or we're not allowed to publish an opinion publicly, or we're not allowed to do perspective. These people have lost their, this is what I'm going to say to law enforcement. I understand that you have a job to do, and you may have to do some social media research. But if you can't handle the kitchen, or you can't handle the heat, stay out of the kitchen. That's what I got to say, because, they're going to social media. They're the ones that are choosing to read all this stuff, and people are entitled to have their opinion. And I'm so sick and tired of hearing misinformation. If you do not want misinformation being peddled by the public, law enforcement, then you need to give them the real information. You're creating the problem that you're trying to avoid. Law enforcement has been the creator of these problems from out the gate. So I'm so sick and tired of hearing them complaining. You create the problem, you deal with the problem. If you want to make your life a lot less, then it's time to start realizing you need to bring a little more to the table. I understand it's difficult. You have an investigation, but these high-profile cases, the information is going to come out one way or another. It depends on whether you want the right information coming out or the wrong information coming out. That is in the control of law enforcement. It's up to them. But this is the way social media rolls. Some people really care about getting the facts right, and some people just don't. They care about the clicks and the views. It is what it is. It's part of the name. It's part of the game.
are the only suspects that we were looking for. They were arrested. There were many names being thrown around on the internet.
Again, had problems answering that question. So we know that there's a third person. Now we're going to get to who that third person could potentially be. A lot of people have brought up, let me put this in here. Let's hear it. Let's hear it before we get over to it. Let's hear this.
DA Joe Gonzalez tells us he intends to prosecute, quote, to the fullest extent of the law. For now, the father and son remain behind bars. Bonds again raised this morning as more charges were added. They stand at $600,000 for the father and
$600,000 for the father and $2 million for the son. Let me get back to where I was going with this. There it is. So there has been some rumors, and I want to make sure I caution everyone about what a rumor is. Okay? A rumor is something that we do not have proof exists. Okay? I did some extensive research on Bexar County, and I've done some extensive research on San Antonio. Crime statistics is what I'm referring to, the crime statistics. While overall, Bexar County is lower than the national average in crime, and that's for violent crime and non-violent crime, where I think our national average for 2020, now I'm going statistics, so when you deal with statistics, you're always behind the 8 ball with statistics. So like our 2023 statistics, we're not going to have for a year or two. Okay. So we have to revert back to the nearest numbers that we can get our hands on. And typically we can get our hands on say 2019, 2020, maybe 2021 numbers, but mostly 2019 and 2020 numbers. So that's what I'm referring to. So overall, in 2020 or 2019, because those are the two areas of numbers that I'm going to be able to look at, the national crime rate was about 26%. And so the county overall was at 18%, a little above 18%. So Bexar County nationally for crime, violent and non-violent, the violent was 18%. The non-violent, I can't remember. I wasn't paying attention to it. But the county overall, much lower than the national average for the county. However, when it comes to San Antonio specifically, they have high crime. So the county overall has low crime. So you have pockets, hot pockets throughout the county. And San Antonio is one of those large hot pockets where their crime rate, violent crime rate, if I'm not mistaken, I can't remember. I'm pretty sure it was above 26%. So I think it's above the national average. So county overall, lower than the national average. This specific community, above the national average. Violent crime, murders, everything. I think in 2019, I could be wrong, but I believe that their murders in San Antonio was something like over 100 people died in this, whatever year I was in, whether it was 2019 or 2020. Actually, I could probably look it up if I still have it pulled up here. I can't tell if I have it pulled up here or not because I got so many tabs. Either way, there's a name that came up, and the name that came up was, I'm just going to refer to her as Christina. Okay. And what brought a lot of people's attention to this is January 5th, a Christina was charged with a second-degree felony for alter, destroy, conceal human corpse. And so this has made people bring this person up because everybody's talking about Ramon having a girlfriend, that he was no longer married, that he had a girlfriend, he had a live-in girlfriend, and nobody knows who that live-in girlfriend is. Nobody has moved in that house. We know that there's somebody was in the car, but we also know that Christopher has brothers. So could it have been another family member, not the girlfriend, not the mom, but maybe a brother Could Christopher have a girlfriend? Could it have been his girlfriend? This lady here was born August 1996. And the reason why I bring that up is because I think that's important, because when you're looking at this and you're looking at, this is not all the time, but typically when you have a 53-year-old man dating a woman, they're usually dating somebody around their age. Okay. Some like younger women, some like women half their age. We don't know if that's the case. And I don't know if a young woman is going to date him unless it's a money thing. Like, right? I mean, Ramon is not somebody that looks good. I mean, he's got kids. Somebody likes her, right? Somebody likes him. But, I'm not sure. I mean, he's an older man. He's very obese. I don't know. I don't know. But this person here is born in 1996. It's 20 something. Okay. He's 53 years old. So you're talking about almost a 30-year age difference. Is it possible? Yes, it's possible. Is it probable? It even could be probable. But I don't know if this is associated, because everybody's like, well, how many more murders are out there? How many more murders are out there? In San Antonio, let me tell you, a lot. So this may not be associated with it. And I have to think, if they're charging this person with an alter, destroy, conceal of a human corpse, I would assume, I'm wildly assuming over here, I could be absolutely wrong, but I'd have to think if those charges were directly related with Savanah Soto, every single news agency would have this across and plastered across their news organization saying, hey, this third person has been charged with the crime related to Savanah Soto. We're not getting that. So it is my belief that even though this does look like it could potentially go with the case, I don't believe this Aguilar chick is anything to do with Savanah Soto, because I believe in our news organizations, not a lot. I don't hold a lot of stock in them, but I believe if they have breaking news like the third person being arrested, which we've all been asking for literally a week, it would be front page news. It really would. I truly believe it would be front page news, plastered across every single news organization. So while I'm glad that people are paying attention to who's being arrested and what they're being arrested for, and God bless them for doing that, I don't think this is associated. I don't think this Christina is associated with this case. I believe she's associated with another case. She's too old to be the girlfriend of Christopher and too young to be the girlfriend of the father. So unless she's a cousin or another family member, I just don't believe she's associated with it. And the reason why I'm bringing this up is because this is in one of the Facebook groups. This person's name and their charges are posted in the Facebook group. And God bless the person that posted this. They're an anonymous poster. They even stated, they said, just saw this person booked for alter, destroy, conceal human corpse. No idea if it's related, but I did see people mentioning the dad had a girlfriend that may have been the third person in the truck. So I love this. Not only do they put this into the chat, but they also explain that it may not be true and may not be associated with it. This is not what I consider misinformation. This is probably what law enforcement might consider misinformation. This is good research, in my opinion. Does it mean that it's associated with it? Of course not. Does it mean she even knows Chris or Ramon? No. But people are doing the homework. They're doing their work with public records. And this is what frustrates me the most. Law enforcement is upset that we as a public have the ability to get public records. There are records. We're boss. Again, getting kind of sick and tired of the repetitive cycle of, misinformation. But in all fairness, I get it, because there are people out there that peddle in misinformation. Absolutely peddle in it. So that's really all I have. We were able to do it within an hour. I'm glad I didn't want another 3-hour tour. I have to be honest with you. I was terrified of another 3-hour tour. But I did want to go back, hold on, and listen to that press conference. I got to find it. I got so many tabs open here. Just give me a moment. Okay, that's the same one we just watched. Let me see the press conference. Give me just a second. I'm trying to find I know it wasn't very long. It's the one where, oh, you know what? I think it was on there. Where is the press conference? I know it was on San Antonio. I wonder if it's on their, let me just back this up. I wonder if it's on their PD website. I know they had a press conference. Oh, here it is. I think this is it. Let's see if it's it. I didn't even know they had a Facebook group. I do now. I thought I checked this out and I didn't see anything. Okay, here it is. Okay. Hold on, I'm trying to make it big, but I don't know if I can.
Some of these mics here.
We'll watch this real quick.
What's up, Dylan?
They're fixing the mics.
Thanks for showing up.
I will tell you before we get started on this, I'm pulling this right from San Antonio Police Department website because it's public information and public record. But again, this is another one that bothers me because I like the state attorney. Like I said, you're gonna feel it too when we watch this. You're gonna feel nice, warm, and fuzzy, like the state attorney. He gets it and he cares about baby. You feel like he gives a damn. And I'm sorry, that means a lot to me as a person. With a case like this, I want to know that state, like Bill Thompson, with the Idaho 4, to me doesn't feel like he gives a crap. To me, he doesn't feel like to me. It doesn't, the way he treats the family and the victims, he doesn't seem like he really gives a crap. He's desensitized. It just seems like he's a robot. And I don't like that. And in his decisions, I butt heads with because he's a robot. He has no empathy, sympathy, or emotion for these families. And I don't like him. I'll be honest with you. I pray to God he can do his job. But let's be honest. I really don't care for Bill Thompson. I don't care for him. I think he's rude. I think he's an a-hole. I think he left the families. He's not fighting for the families. He's fighting for his own reputation. I don't like him, and I have no respect for him. Is he going to do a good job? I pray to God he does. But you ask me, he's not my BFF. He's not my BFF. This guy here, a different story. I can see me and him being BFFs. I really could. I could see me and him being BFFs. So let's get this up here. Let's listen to this because there are a few things, and I am going to stop it if I can because I got it blown up on my end. I'm going to try to stop it if I can to go over some of the points I want to make in this because, again, it's coming down to this third person. And why isn't this third person arrested? Because if we use the same standard, now, believe me, I'm a law and order chick, and I also believe the law should be applied equally to every single person. I don't think a person should get one up on another person. I don't think it should have to do with your wealth, your identity, your skin color, or anything else. I believe that everybody should be charged exactly the same. If I broke into a store, I want to be charged the same way as somebody else broke into the store. No differently, just the same. And if you're applying the fact that this father wiped down that car as helping as to why you're charging him with these excessive crimes, if all he did was wipe down the door. That's what you constitute as assistance. I constitute assistance when somebody's handing that very person the towel to wipe down that door with. So if you're going to apply that standard to the father, darn it, you need to apply it to the person inside that car as well. Everybody. We actually have the 14th Amendment that says just that these these laws should be applied equally. Now, if they want to work on an immunity deal with that person, fine. But acting like it doesn't exist is a problem for me. Okay? Acting like this thing doesn't exist. If you're working with the person, say you're working with the person, because people like us, we don't want to do any misinformation there, law enforcement officers. I tell you, I don't like to misinform my audience. I do not like to misinform my audience. So are you going to be arresting a third person, or are you not going to be arresting a third person? Is that person going to get a transactional immunity, or is that person not going to get a transactional immunity? I would like to know. And here's why. Not because of the integrity of the investigation, just because I am a law and order chick that wants to make sure that laws are applied equally to everyone. And if there is some type of like, it was just a tell, right? And they could come to the public and say, hey, look, they're a better witness than they are a defendant. And we, the public, the reasonable people that we are, we're like, you know what? You're right. They are a better witness than they are a defendant. And I would rather them be used to put the real suspects behind bars than to have to pay tax-paying money to prosecute them when they're a better witness than they're a defendant. So I understand that. But avoiding it is causing a lot of heartburn. And it's going to make people dig in to try to get the edge on the news. And that's what we're seeing here. Like, even with this this whole, posting in the Facebook group of an arrest that has similar charges, that wouldn't be happening if somebody would answer the question about the third person, right? So again, this is being all created by law enforcement. They have to get better at their communications with the public in light of social media. This constantly blaming social media for everybody's problems is getting old. It's getting old, folks. It's getting old. Thank you. It's me, Jen. Thank you, Elfig. God bless you. If you guys received your gifted Bullhorn Betty membership, please don't forget to tell the people thank you. They're giving you this gift because they love this channel and they love to support. Some of these things, they're not cheap. They're not cheap. So we know the value of $1 here on this channel. And we just want to thank each and every person that contributes to this channel. We do a lot of great work. As you guys see, the intro coming in, there's very limited creators on this platforms that can bring you live work that they've done in the field. Very limited. There's only a few of us out there. And this is one of those channels that gives you the front door to the action. We will be out in Highland, Richland County at the end of the month, covering the Alec Murdaugh motion for new trial. That's going to be at the appellate court level. We're going to see Judge Toll. What an amazing lady that is. Judge Toll is an amazing. She's a retired Supreme Court judge and our federal judge. I can't remember, but her story's amazing. Absolutely amazing. And she was able to do all this stuff when women's rights and stuff like that, when we weren't allowed to do a whole lot, and she didn't care. She didn't care. Love her story. We will talk about her story on the heels of the Alec Murdaugh stuff. So back to this, I just wanted to give you guys a little bit of context.
Obviously, come on up here, guys. I've asked District Attorney Joe Gonzalez to be here today and make a few comments at the end of this.
Hopefully it clears up.
Of this briefing.
There it goes.
And we'll make this short and sweet. I have most of the information I have here, I think you've already been privy to. I do have a little bit of new information. The information I'm going to give you, I will answer questions to clarify, but I'm not going to go into a lot of detail about anything else, simply because this is an open investigation and we still have a lot of work to do. So again, my condolences to the families of Savanah and Matthew. By now, everybody's aware of the incidents, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time
Sorry, I didn't realize my mic was blocked. I wanted you guys to pay attention. Notice this chief. Do you guys notice that? Oh, let me see here. Stacy, thank you. I'm checking now for PayPal. Somebody just asked. I don't get notifications. I get them a couple occasionally. Darcy, I got Rhonda team on PayPal, but I didn't see yours, Darcy, but that's okay. I'm sure it'll come in just a second. I know somebody was asking me that you were asking about it. I'm sorry I didn't see it in the chat, but I don't know. I honestly don't. I'll have to check it. But I just checked PayPal. If you sent it through PayPal, it doesn't look like it. So getting back to this, he's decorated. You see those lines on his sleeve? He's a well-decorated police chief, okay? If you watch his mannerism and how he speaks, he has no emotion. He has no, it doesn't appear he has empathy or sympathy for this man. Not that he doesn't. I don't want you guys thinking that he's a callous officer. I don't believe that either. I don't know. Hold on here. I've got one from an EK and Stacy. So if you're EK, then yes, I did. I'm actually hearting it right now. So if that's you, then yes. Thank you guys. Wow, you guys are so sweet. Thank you. I appreciate it. I promise you we'll use it for the Alec Murdaugh case. And also, because I'm going to be so close, just FYI, because I'm going to be so close to Tennessee, I've already let Jen know that I'll be going over to Tennessee as well. So I'll be doing an additional search once we're done with Alec Murdaugh's case, because we're already halfway there. And it just seems like it makes sense to go over there just for a couple days and clear another area out and see what we can find, see if we can find any additional information. So that's what the plan is. I don't know if I'm going to go anyplace else other than that, but I think I am going to go. I'm going to scoot on over to Tennessee to see if we can help out some more over there. All right. Without further ado, let me get back to the case at hand. But I just wanted to point out, because you're going to watch him talk, and I want you to see his behavior, because he's fully removed. He has removed all emotion from his job, and that is his job. He's the police chief. He has to, and he does his job well, but he's been around the block a time or two, and he's probably seen some of the worst in humanity.
Rehashing facts that are already known, but I will go over them high level. So on 12/26/23, our officers discovered 2 deceased individuals in a Kia Optima, and our homicide detectives at that point began their investigation right on that scene. Detectives learned that both victims were involved in the sale of narcotics and used their cell phones to conduct much of their business.
Both victims. I want you to hear that again. Well, I'm not going to play it again, but I want you to hear that again. Both victims were selling narcotics. That came out of the chief of police's mouth. Both.
Detectives collected the victims' phones, and with the help of...
Did you guys just hear that? We missed that. Everybody keeps saying Matthew's phone is missing. Let's hear it again. We just went back 20 seconds. He just said phones, plural, and victims' phones, plural. I think we missed the fact that it sounds like they have both of their phones. Let's listen to that again.
And their investigation right on that scene. Detectives learned that both victims were involved in the sale of narcotics and used their cell phones to conduct much of their business. Detectives collected the victims' phones, and with the help of...
victims' phones. Did you guys hear that? So now it sounds like the phones The phones is how they found the killer. Well, they said that they found the killer through Savanah's phone. That Savanah's phone is the one that had the Charlie Chan drive on it. But everybody kept saying that Matthew's phone was never found. It wasn't found with him, and it wasn't it wasn't found with him. And along with his weapon, he didn't have a weapon or his phone with him. That's what we heard. But it sounds like the police chief is now clarifying that they have both phones. So that's, and this has been out for a few days, and I think we all missed that. I just happened to catch it when we were listening to it again.
The United States Secret Service, who were able to extract information that led to the development of a possible location of a suspect vehicle that was seen on the surveillance video. That occurred on Wednesday, 1/3/24. Detectives drove to that location and saw the suspect vehicle. They approached the home where the suspect vehicle was, and they knocked on the door. An individual by the name of Ramon Preciado answered the door and seemed to know why SAPD was there and cooperated with the investigation. Both Ramon and Christopher were home and brought to the SAPD homicide office for questioning.
They did not elaborate whether anybody else was in the home at the time, but they did say both both suspects, the father and the son, were home at the time.
During the interviews, both suspects made enough statements to implicate them in the murder. Detectives walked warrants for their arrests. Christopher was arrested on the charge of capital murder. Ramon was arrested on the charge of abuse of a corpse.
Now, they elaborate whenever the state attorney gets up there that the abuse of the corpse charge is just for him wiping down the car and leaving the scene, leaving them in, basically abandoning both of them inside the car, is basically what my understanding and the way that the state attorney explained it to the public. The additional charge, they had additional charges that were added, I believe, at this point, and those additional charges were the concealing the alteration of evidence, where they and I think that's associated with the wiping down of the door, but they are talking about tampering with evidence, physical evidence, were the new charges that were added to both Chris and Ramon.
Yesterday, 1/4, more charges were filed. Christopher was also charged with abuse of a corpse, altering, destroying, or concealing evidence of a human corpse. Ramon was also charged with altering, destroying, concealing evidence.
Altering, destroying, concealing evidence. So again, I still think the third person also abandoned the people in the car and also assisted in covering up evidence because, again, through the towel.
A human corpse. Detectives also conducted a search warrant at the home of the suspects where evidence was recovered. There is still an active investigation, and I'm not going to go into too much of the details, as I've previously said, because I don't want to jeopardize the integrity of the case or make the DA's job any harder once he gets involved in it. The final piece of information I have for you is that the gun believed to be the murder weapon has been recently recovered from the.
So now we know they had both phones and the gun that was recently recovered from the suspect home. We don't know where in the suspect home this gun was found, but we do now know that Matthew's phone, Savanah's phone, as well as, oh my gosh. So we're just learning, let me put this up here. We're just learning right now, one of our beloved mods, I just want to read this here. I'm really sorry to hear this too. Our mod, November Rain's son's wife, just passed away and she needs our prayers. So let's just take just a moment. I know we're talking about a horrible case right now with Savanah Soto, but this is one of our own that need our help. So if we can just take a few, just 5 seconds for a moment of silence. And maybe you guys can say a prayer, put some prayer hands up in the chat for November Rain. We're really sorry that you're going through this. And, you know, there's no words to describe the pain, but we pray for your strength. We pray that you find some peace and understanding in all of this. And we just pray for you. We just pray for you. So again, sorry to hear that, November Rain. It sounds like somebody's gone too soon. So just a few moments of silence, folks. All right. Thank you guys for that. Again, November Rain, you know, we love you. I don't know how to comfort you in this time of need, but we are absolutely here for you. If you do need something, anything, just let us know. We're here to help. We are family. Remember that. First and foremost, we're family. God comes first, family second. So, all right, guys. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I hope November you realize you're loved here. You're loved. All right, let's get back to this. Again, gun found. Phones and gun have been found. We just solved one of the lingering questions. Where's Matthew's phone? The chief said days ago they have it. We just missed it. Now we're here. They've got the gun. We, as a public, have been making a huge leap, and I've seen it because I've been watching. I've been breaking my rule and watching YouTube, okay? So I know there's a lot of people that are making that assumption because, and they specifically say it's because of Chris talking about the wrestling with the gun from Matthew, that it seems like it's implying that it's Matthew's gun. And I have to agree with that assessment, that it does kind of imply that it is Matthew's gun. And we ultimately may find out at the end of this that it truly is Matthew's gun. But I'm just saying, let's just take a step back, because at the end of the day, we don't know. There's a lot of things that aren't adding up, and it's the time that they pulled up to the time that they were dumped dead. Okay, from start to finish, 10 minutes. It just seems like there was a lot more going on there than we know about. It seems like to me, I mean, just think of an argument with your spouse or your significant other, or if you're younger, your sibling. How long did it take for that argument to escalate to the point where you're ready to kill them? You know, and of course we're not. You know, I'm saying that lightly, and I'm not saying that to be offensive or anything like that. But in reality, think about how many times we've been in arguments or fights with our family or our friends, and it seems to me like every argument I get, it kind of starts out like, even at drug deal, like, hey dude, like this is short. Or, dude, I just brought you an ounce or a pound and you're $200 short. What gives? What are you going to have the money? Well, give me back. You know, so you got the argument there. It just seems like the argument itself, before it got to the escalation of pulling out a weapon, would have been more than that of 4 minutes. And within 4 minutes, according to the arrest affidavit, these people were already dead. They pulled up. Within 4 minutes, the car is driving off to be dumped. It doesn't make sense. So I just want to caution people. We know there's a gun. We know the gun has been recovered. I'm not ready to say that it was Matthew's just yet. Could it be? Absolutely could be. Hands down. Now, if it really is his, it may imply that he would have had to taken that gun out of his, unless he just had it on his lap. You know, some people, they pull it out, put it on their lap so people know that they've got it with them. And that guy could have just jumped right over and grabbed it. You know, there's a lot of things. So it could still be Matthew's. I'm just not ready to say that with 100% certainty just yet, because the evidence that's in this affidavit doesn't support it just yet. And law enforcement definitely ain't telling us.
The suspect's home. And we'll share that with you. And Joe, would you like to say a few words?
Thank you, Chief. Good morning, everyone. First, I want to thank McManus for inviting me to be a part of this press conference. And before I begin, I also want to extend my condolences to the Soto and Guerra families as they are in the midst of mourning. They are in the midst of grieving for the loss of their loved ones. So I think it would be appropriate for us to give them the respect that is due them during this period. But I do want to say that as I mentioned before, arrests were made. I was confident because I knew.
Hold on, guys. I got some internal issues going on. I'm not sure with my audio or what, but it seems like it's going on. Go ahead and turn that off. There we go. Hopefully that fixes it.
The kind of work that happens over here, I know the kind of dedication that the San Antonio Police Department has. They would identify suspects and make arrests, and that's exactly what happened. So I want to commend Chief McManus. I want to commend the entire command staff, and I especially want to call out the lead homicide detective for doing an outstanding job. I'm sure it's typical. He may have had others assist him, but I know that his team was working around the clock, and it made a difference because we always want to formulate a suspect as soon as possible. We always want to identify someone who is a perpetrator of a crime as soon as possible, and that happened here. So again, my gratitude to the entire department and specifically to the detectives that were involved in this case. As I have said recently, our job is just beginning, but we have to give SAPD time to complete their investigation. What they do when they
So I mean, we. I mean, how do you guys feel about? I mean, he seems like he gives me the warm fuzzy feeling. You know, he's very knowledgeable. He's explaining things very well. I will tell you this. I don't know how to say this without just being rude or pompous, and it's not to sound that way in the least. It just, there's no good way of saying this without sounding like that. And it's very frustrating for me because, you know, we're on this side of the camera. I opted not to go out to this case because of the gang affiliations, and with me being alone, it just wasn't comfortable for me. You know, maybe that'll change. I may end up going out there to get some footage because we've been covering this case, and this does sound like it's going to go to trial. You know, good, and I'm really glad, and we're going to get to see some of the evidence, and I want to see it because I feel so bad for these kids. They're young kids, and I'm going to call them kids because that's what they are. With this being said, oh, thank you, Jen. God bless you for that. God bless you. When this does go to trial, I truly believe they're going to have a lot that we don't know about because this affidavit was so vague. I don't know how they're going to they're going to have to present to a grand jury, so it really doesn't matter. All they have to do is allege in this complaint and produce the evidence at that grand jury and let them get testimony for them to be indicted. They've got 90 days, I believe, to indict them, to indict Chris and Ramon on this. They've got the investigation going on. But again, they're not answering or closing our worry box with the third subject. We know there was at least another person inside that vehicle, at least one other person. We have no idea. That whole truck could have been filled with people. We only know of one other person, and law enforcement so far has not closed that worry box. We want to make sure somebody is not getting away with this crime. Somebody else had knowledge. And if we're basing you having knowledge being at the scene and abandoning corpses in a car, well, there was definitely somebody else that did that as well.
And the term is walking warrant. When they present an affidavit for an arrest warrant, they only need to present probable cause to a magistrate judge, but that's only the beginning. They have the responsibility to complete the investigation, and I know that they will do that. They will do an outstanding job as they've done so far. So let's give them the time to do what they need to do.
I remember what I was getting at. I remember my soapbox. My soapbox is this was only a 15-minute press conference. This is why I have such, and there's no way to say this without sounding arrogant and pompous, is the fact that mainstream media is losing its luster in our environment. They're not asking the questions. They're not being as aggressive as our journalists once were. Journalists used to get in there and get us the information. Now they're basically parrots and talking heads for whatever these politicians and people want them to say, because they dangle the carrot over their head. If you don't do it as I say, whenever you need me to come and give you an interview, you're not going to get it because you're not doing as I say. I'm so sick and tired of them worrying about the next interview, that they're failing to do their job. And I'm going to say that, and again, there's no way to say it without acting arrogant and pompous, but they're not doing their job. This is the biggest case, the largest national case this area has had in some significant time. And you would think that every news organization sitting in that room would be peppering these officials with questions. You can barely get these news organizations to open their freaking mouth. They're not asking squat. It's irritating. It's irritating. It's just irritating.
These cases. And so I am sure that they're going to get a prosecution guide, which is the term that we use for a complete file. I'm sure that they will get it to us in the appropriate time and before that 90-day timeline. So again, I want to commend everyone involved in the San Antonio Police Department for doing an outstanding job in identifying suspects and making arrests. Let's let the detectives complete their job. Let's let them file the cases in our office, and then we'll make the charging decisions, and we'll go from there. And again, I can't overestimate this. In order to bring justice to the memory of these two victims, and in order to bring justice to the survivors and the family members, it's going to be a long road, but we have to take things one step at a time. So let's do that. Let's let SA.
And when this was going on, we were upset because he said 2 victims. We all believe that there were not 2 victims. There were 3 victims. And let me clarify this to everybody. Based on the information that we have, we know that there was a contact wound to Savanah. We know there was a contact wound to Matthew. But that baby was still alive long after his mother died. And I'm not going to express the perishing, but I will say the only victim that truly suffered in that vehicle was that baby. And if you don't believe me, do your own research on what happens when a mother loses her life. It's enough to make you cry. It's enough to make you cry.
SIPD do their job, and then we'll need some time to review the facts and make those charging decisions. And once the case is indicted, then we'll go to the next step. And I'm sure I will have questions about this. Let me get this out there right now.
The police chief said both Savanah and Matthew had contact wounds. Michelle, just FYI, they clarified both of them had contact wounds.
There have been questions about whether or not this will be something that we will seek the death penalty on. It's too early to tell. I don't know whether or not this is something that we will make that decision. We'll cross that bridge when we get to it. As in every other case where we have a defendant who is death penalty eligible, we have a capital crimes committee that will meet, that will make, we will hear a presentation from the lead prosecutor in the court where this case ends up, and then we will discuss the facts that go into making a decision to seek the death penalty. But again, it is too early to tell. We don't want to put the cart before the horse. Let's wait till we get an entire case.
Must be hanging out with Bullhorn Betty too
once
much.
That happens. Once,
my favorite saying.
I anticipate that we will have indictments returned, but we have to wait and let a grand jury make that decision. But after that, then we will take it to the next level and excuse me, make whatever decisions that we need to. Thank you very much.
No questions. Listen to this. Like if he asks,
I will just say that we believe it's the gun that was used in the murder.
they were asking if this gun had been, if they've looked at it, how they've determined it, and had it been connected with any guns. And he's saying that this is what his response is.
As far as the testing and the ballistic results go, I'm not sure quite what they have yet.
So they've confirmed that this is the gun that was used, but they haven't compared the ballistics to other cases.
Chief, can you help clear something up on the surveillance video? We've had a lot of people reach out.
Here it is.
Appears as if someone tosses the towel to Ramon Preciado.
Yeah.
You see the chief, how he kind of like, yeah. You know, they know. It seems to me they know who the third person is. It sounds to me, based upon his response, you're going to hear how he dances with it and he provides word salad, that it sounds like they're turning whoever is in that truck into a witness. So that's kind of where I'm going with this, but we don't know that for sure. And to be honest with you, that's a huge assumption for me to make as well.
He wipes down the door on the sedan. Is that how it played out? What can you tell us about that small part of the sedan?
Yeah, that's something we're still looking into. It's something that's been brought up in conversation about this. So we're still looking into that.
So that could potentially be a third suspect or someone that.
See, this is what's making me say that they are probably turning that third person into the witness, because he's very cautious. He's very cautious how he answers this. He almost doesn't want to say that they're complicit in any way, shape, or form. So, happy heavenly third birthday, baby Q. Heavenly birthday, third birthday, baby Q. What a sad story. What a sad case that is too. So I don't. It just. I don't know if we're going to get the third charge. I really don't.
While the bodies were dropped off.
As the investigation continues, it could be. I'm not saying it is. I'm just saying it.
So I feel like he's saying right there, if they choose not to cooperate fully, then yeah, we're probably going to charge them. That's why I think that this person's going to be a witness.
It's possible.
If someone was there, if there was a second person in that truck, could they be charged with the same altering of a corpse or,
He said, yep.
They could be, but I mean, that's something that would be determined once the level of that person's involvement is.
See, they're working with that person. I truly believe they know who that person is. I think that right now they've got him as a witness. They're using them for all the information. It's a person that does not want to go to jail. It could be an underage person. It could be somebody that they're trying to protect and make sure that they don't ruin their life, because it has nothing to do, they just happen to be at the wrong place at the wrong time. If it's a kid, they're under the control of the father. They can't blame them for him being in that truck. Your father tells you to load up and get your butt in the truck. You load up and get your butt in the truck. So we have to look at those aspects too. Could it be the girlfriend? Could it be another family member? We have to look at that. But it seems to me that the law enforcement knows what's going on, and they just don't want to make the leap yet.
If that is the case at all.
We saw videos of police activity in the house of Preciados where you take the mom. Are you questioning her?
I'm going to leave that question unanswered. Okay. Thank you, everybody. Appreciate it.
See, like nobody's asking the questions. Now, granted, this is not the end of the press conference, but this is exactly what I'm talking about. You can't really call this out without sounding pompous and arrogant. But seriously, what were these people thinking? What were the news outlets in this room thinking? This is the biggest national news story they've got right now, and they're barely asking any really needle-moving questions. They didn't even ask anything about baby Fabian until after he's ready to pack up and leave. It was disheartening.
Sure. So the additional charges that were filed were for Ramon Christopher was arrested on a capital murder charge. Ramon was arrested on a charge of abuse of a corpse. Yesterday, Christopher was also charged with abuse of a corpse. And he and Ramon were charged with altering, destroying, or concealing evidence.
As far as the capital murder charges, would it be 1, 2, or 3? You know what?
This is the first time they ask about baby Fabian.
It involves all of that. Okay.
Yep. Okay, and any further questions you have, you might want to just refer to the affidavit, arrest affidavit. Okay.
That vague arrest affidavit. So he's going to go here and
Claro que sí.
do some Spanish
Pues
stuff.
estamos
Hold
aquí
on.
para hablar con respecto del caso, pudieron identificar, ellos tienen que, con lo que se dice, vamos a hacer decisiones que seguir.
Okay, now we're back. Let me pull this back down so we can watch it.
An unborn child is considered a person when it comes to the capital murder. Can you just reiterate that?
So now this is the real actual question that they finally bring baby Fabian into the conversation.
Sure. Clearly, we have enough to charge Christopher with Preciado with capital murder because we have 2 adult victims. But under Texas law, when an unborn child, and it's under whatever period of gestation.
Oh, thank you, Stacy.
That unborn child is considered a person under Texas law for purposes of including an unborn child as an additional count for capital murder. We have every intention, of course, the Chief of Command's, actually, the sergeant made a comment that they intend to file 3 charges, listing 3 victims. We have every intention of including the unborn child as an additional count for capital murder. But again, we'll have to wait and see when the case is filed. But that's correct. We can charge someone with additional count. While you're asking the question, let me clarify.
And this is what made me really like this prosecutor and make me feel like he gives a crap. Not that, he doesn't seem like a robot up here, but this is the one that made me really like this guy.
Asked why the father, Ramon Preciado, is not charged with capital murder. Someone can be charged with murder if that person is directly responsible because that person either intentionally or knowingly caused the death of the individual, or that person can be charged with as a party to a murder. But under Texas law, the only way that someone can be charged as a party is that that person has to aid, assist, encourage, or abet the commission of the offense intended. As far as we know, there is no evidence to indicate that the father was involved in the murder.
So what they're trying to explain to the audience is that he had no, according to them, according to the evidence that they have so far, again, it's up for interpretation and it's up to change. But what they have right now is that Chris was the one that concocted this, carried it out, and then went to daddy for help after it was all said and done, that his father had nothing to do with bringing these people to the house, doing anything to them, or doing anything other than picking his son up, is basically what the evidence says. Will that change? It very well could, but that's what he's saying. He's saying that the father did not help carry out this crime. He was only called in after the fact. And that's why he's not getting a first-degree murder charge. But again, could change. They're not done. They're just beginning their investigation.
Now that may change as this case develops. The detective is going to continue his investigation. If there's at some point some evidence that the father was in fact involved in the murder, then that can change. But I know there is a common conception that when someone is an accessory, in fact, that we can charge him, but he has to be more than an accessory. In fact, under Texas law, we have to be able to prove that he was a party to the offense. So again, for now, the only one that,
for example, if he ordered the hit,
is Christopher Preciado.
Is that it? They cut it off there on this particular one. But again, the media really didn't ask a lot of questions. Like I would have been asking, we know that they probably wouldn't have answered it. They would probably say this goes to the integrity of the investigation, so we're not going to answer it, or I'm declining to answer it, like he said before. I mean, you heard him say, I declined to answer that question before. Okay, well, then if you're declining to answer that question, then why don't you just ask the question? Because at the end of the day, the audience, the public, wants to make sure that those questions are being asked to the law enforcement professionals. Do you believe the gun was Matthew Guerrera's? Not one. Now, again, the largest national news story that they've had for a significant amount of time, and these people aren't chopping at the bit to get as much information out of these law enforcement professionals as possible. They didn't ask about the gun. Is it Matthew's? They didn't ask did they think they were killed inside the car or outside the car? This guy would have said, look, I'm not going to answer that. It's going to the integrity of the investigation, and I'm not going to respond. I decline to respond. But at least everybody knows that this was in the forefront of their mind, and they asked the question, and it was declined to be answered. They didn't do any of that. They barely even brought up baby Fabian, which, to be honest with you, is why many of us are here. We're not here for gangbangers. We're here for the innocent loss of life. Nobody deserved this. Don't get me wrong. I know I get beat up and my words manipulated all the time on here, and I don't really care. At the end of the day, if we just heard that some dealer and his girlfriend that are associated with a gang just got whacked, would this be national news? That's a dime a dozen story. An 18-year-old pregnant mom to be that's about to bust, that literally is about to give birth to a baby and disappears hours before that, that's what got our attention. We were concerned about the precious baby. Not that we're not concerned about Matthew or Savanah, or not that we believe that this should happen because of the lifestyle we live. We absolutely do not believe that. 100% do not believe that. These kids deserve to thrive. They deserve to live their life the way that they choose to live their life. It's not for us to decide for them. It's not our life to live. That's where we need to butt out, right? But this was brought before us because they're missing. And then we find out they were killed by violence. But we've got 519 people here. I doubt you guys are all here for Matthew Guerra. I mean, you might be. I can tell you that I wouldn't be writing this story as much as I have. I wouldn't have invested as much time as I had it not been for that little baby boy, baby Fabian. That's why it's on my show. That baby was the most innocent of innocent. Didn't deserve this at all. Neither did his parents. But baby Fabian, let's be honest, that was the innocent one in all of this. And that baby is the one that got the worst of it. That's why we're here today. We're going to say prayers. We're going to keep the family. We're going to keep everybody in our prayers as we move through this week. We're going to pray for the families. This is what I know the families are severed. It sounds like, the pain is too much. And this does happen, when somebody loses their life untimely, it does. Sometimes it brings out the best in people, and sometimes it brings out the worst in people. And I really wish that this, whether we agree with the families, with the way Matthew and Savanah lived their life or not, it doesn't matter. They chose to be together. They chose to create life together. And I have to be honest with you, it totally breaks my heart to know that those kids might be separated in death. That Matthew might be separated from his fiance and his baby boy in death after everything they went through. And that breaks my heart even more, because I don't have to give them a green check mark on the way they live their life. That's not for me to decide. But they were ride or die together. They committed to each other. They were together in life, and they left this world together with their child. And as much of a Greek tragedy story as that might be, I hope that the families come together just long enough that that family can be reunited, that Matthew, Savanah, and baby Fabian can be together. But again, that's not for me to decide. It's not for you to decide. That's something that the family themselves are going to have to find a path forward. You know, it's very sad. I don't know why a father would put their neck out this far. Anyways, guys, that's really all I have. Again, don't forget to keep November Rain and all of our mods. All of our mods are going through something, you know. Some of them are good, some of them are bad, but even good stresses are still stresses, right? So we want to say congratulations to Miss Robin. And we want to give hugs and kisses to all those in our chat that are just not having the best 2024, didn't have the best 2023. And now 2024 is, you know, a little rough, right? Well, here's a kiss. All right. Don't tell me nobody told you that they love you today, because if nobody told you they love you, I love you. You're important to me. You will always be important to me. And you're important to this beautiful little family that we've created called the Coffee Club. So I hope you guys continue to come back and learn about these new stories. I know there's going to be a lot of information coming up related to Savanah Soto, Matthew Guerra, and baby Fabian, and we're going to continue covering it. But we do need to, you know, we got Alec Murdaugh coming up. We still have Layla Santinello that's still missing. We have Holland Snap that's still missing. I was hopeful that the information that we got for Holland Snap would lead to her whereabouts. I was really hoping she would be found. We had the most information we've ever found on Holland Snap, but she still hasn't been seen or heard from since. And so I'm starting to think maybe there's more going on in her case, obviously. But we will be back out there at the end of the month. Like I said, once I leave Alec Murdaugh, I'm going to be going to Tennessee. We're already halfway there. Might as well spend a day or two just to search and clear another area. If anybody's out in the Tennessee area and would like to help, please reach out to me, bullhornbetty@gmail.com, bullhornbetty@gmail.com. Again, we have a couple people in here. Southern Grammy, she's got a lot of good stuff going on with her. Miss Robin's got a lot of great stuff going on with her, and everybody else has got crap. So for all the people that have good things going on with you, for all the people that have the bad stuff, and for everybody else, welcome to 2024. All right, you guys go have your favorite Manic Monday. Peace out. Rock it out with your coffee beans out. Don't forget to be fearless. If you see something, say something. An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. And until next time, please be safe and kind to one another, especially in the comment box below, guys. We've got to start doing better. We say no to cyberbullying and cyber harassment. God bless each and every one of you.
As you wake up in the morning, you want to find the latest, greatest information about criminal cases and have an intuitive conversation about the suspects associated with these cases. Head over to the Bullhorn Betty channel on YouTube. Get breaking news right here on the Bullhorn Betty channel. Welcome to the Bullhorn Betty Coffee Club. Enjoy your stay and enjoy your day.